Hi everyone, and we are live again. This is show number 11 and welcome. Welcome to another great show. It's all about talents, it's all about raptors, it's mainly still about eagles. I think tonight we're going to have a fantastic show. For the first time, we're going to have someone live on the show. So it's going to be Curt. I'm going to introduce him shortly. I've just got a contact with him. He comes from the Rise Raptor Project. I'm just going to jump to the agenda quickly. Let's just jump so you have it here in the background. There we go. There we go. Now we've got it in the background. Should be fine. So this is all what we have today. I have to get out of the way. So the featured nest tonight is from Paul White. I talked to him a week ago. Fantastic personality. He's known all over. So we'll interview him. I'm going to jump in with Curt and ask him all the questions you can think of. Everything you can think about. He's got this Eurasian eagle owl, absolutely beautiful owl. So bombard him with questions. We're going to get him live, and I hope really that you take the opportunity to ask whatever you can think of that is relevant to raptors. And then we're going to go on. David Hancock is going to talk about the white-tailed sea eagle. Then we go through all the eagle nests, and then comes an incredible, interesting part actually, and it's all about the nests and how long the eggs hatch. I've gone through masses of data from Judy B, also going again through Gretchen's nest data, come through some incredible conclusion. This is your opportunity to win something. Let's see if you get the guess right, the guess right, but it's quite something. So again, I'm broadcasting both on YouTube and Periscope. So hi to my Periscope friends too. I can see you there. I'm looking at the screen at the same time. So I've got all my YouTube friends there. It's really wonderful to see how this is developing. We're developing at such an incredible rate now. The network is really working, and I've got this incredible help. Without this would not be possible. And you can see this is my, whoops, I better get out of the way. This is my talented Talent 360 team. So Nicole, you've met her many times before. Of course, she's active also on as an admin. Jani is too, Suzanne, and then Sherry. I have to get my chair out of the way. Otherwise, you can't see Sherry properly. But there is Sherry. Those are my 4 golden raptor helps. Thank you to them. Thank you. They work days on preparing the show. Without that, it would not be possible, really. Yes, I did move the chair. I'm getting comments now, live comments for the first time. Move your chair out of the way. Yes, I did. Very good. So it's all working. So before we get in Curt, and he's waiting there. I can see him on the other screen with his Eurasian eagle owl. Quite incredible name. So that's Maximus. He'll be joining us in a minute. Please note that we really value your contribution towards eagles, and so many of you observe eagle nests on a regular basis. Here's the link. Nicole, Sasha, Suzanne, or Sherry will post the link into the live feed so you can see it. This is this form here helps us a lot to understand the nest behavior a lot better. So your contribution is very valuable. Please take some time if you can, if you are an observer, a viewer, just to fill out this the questionnaire there. Thank you so much. So let's jump right in now. And I'm going to see, just got to put my headphones on now, and hopefully we will get Curt live in now with our raptor. So one sec. Okay, Curt, you are going to be live in a minute. He's nodding to me, so he's hearing me on the other channel. So here we go. Let's see. I'm going to get myself out of the way here, and then we'll get Curt in a second. Let's see if we can get this all in. There we go. There we go. So Curt Kearley, he is the founder of the Rise Raptor Project. Welcome, Curt. I hope you can all hear him.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. Thanks for having us on tonight.
Sorry, we didn't have you on a live broadcast before, but we had you on talking about your raptors, but there are many new viewers. Could you tell them a little bit about this fantastic owl that you are holding there?
Yeah, this is Maximus. He's a Eurasian eagle owl. He's one of our education ambassadors here at Rise Raptor Project, located in Huntsville, Alabama, United States. So I definitely first want to say hello to all the people who have joined us. So it's fantastic to be able to communicate and network with everybody. But Maximus here, of course, his principal job as an education ambassador with our organization is to be one of our teachers in teaching the principles of good stewardship, in environmental conservation, and really give people an up-close personal experience of what these raptors are really like. Most people will never experience a raptor up close like we can bring. Maximus goes around to classrooms, speaks to thousands of people every year. We do anywhere from 60 to 85 programs a year with all kinds of venues, whether it's schools, scouts, our state park systems, our United States Fish and Wildlife Service refuge systems, and everywhere else, wherever we're requested, we'll go. So Maximus, of course, is one of our owls, and he's definitely got to be quite popular here in Huntsville.
Yes, and Curt, can you explain how a Eurasian eagle owl compares to our greyhorned owls, and why is it actually called an eagle owl?
Yeah, so a lot of people will misidentify him, but it's a very good guess. It's a great horned owl. Now, of course, great horned owls are one of the largest owls in North America. Of course, they're the largest owl here in the South, in Alabama. Very strong, extremely powerful. The eagle owl, though, is a notch above the great horned owl. Now, they are the same genus for those of you familiar with taxonomy or names. For example, the taxonomy name for an eagle owl, Eurasian eagle owl, is bubo bubo. So, and then the great horn is a bubo as well. The genus basically designated the genus. They live about the same way. They occupy the same position in our ecosystem. They kind of play the same role. Although Eurasian eagle owls, as their name suggests, Eurasia is basically where they're kind of indicates where they're from, Europe and Asia. So very widespread, very their populations are stable globally, or at least in the areas they're native to. Here in the United States, of course, we have the great horned owl. So they both live about the same way, eat about the same things. They both hoot. And of course, they have this recognizable feather toss up here, sometimes called horns, like the great horned owl, or like, for example, the long-eared owl. These feathers are for those, but very similar species. But when it comes to driving out, if owls were compared to driving trucks, this is like driving the big rig of owls.
Curt, we have some interesting questions coming in. One question was, how many of these Eurasian eagle owls are in the States, and how long do they live in captivity?
I don't know their population in the United States. They are rare, but with them being rare, they are more common in zoo settings and educational programs like my own. We don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure how many nesting sites, but it was a very rare opportunity to be able to get him. It was quite a privilege. They can live about 60 years sometimes if they're well taken care of in captivity. So that's, when dealing with these birds, you have to take into account their lifespan and where they go if, I happen to check out or something. But so that's a long lifespan. In the wild, it's estimated, I'm not sure of any hard banding data, but estimated around 20 to 30 years in the wild. Of course, in captivity, you can sometimes double or triple their lifespans because we have good avian veterinarians. If they do run into a problem, we can take care of it.
Very good. And Lollaboo is interested. How did you end up in Rise Raptor? How did it all work?
I always had a passion for raptors and really nature outside. I really belong outside all the time. So I think maybe it's something I was born with. I kind of mentioned in my last video, if people might have seen it from the last time, I think the earliest incident I really wanted to connect with nature is when I was about 3 years old. And this crow somebody had raised in our neighborhood in St. Louis, it was an imprint. It was flying around the neighborhood, and it would come see me. When I would go outside, it would come see me. And I remember even at that early age, I wanted to figure out how to talk to it. I wanted to know what it was and what does it do. So anyway, fast forward through a lifetime. When I was in my college years, I was able to volunteer with a wildlife organization. I learned about taking care of these birds. So I spent 5 years under a very incredible guy named Walter Crawford, who founded the World Bird Sanctuary. So I studied with him for 5 years, learning how to do education, participating in conservation, restoration, for example, peregrine falcon restoration, hacking activities in St. Louis. So when I moved to Alabama, that was too far of a commute to go to the Midwest United States. And I just planned on, I'm a falconer as well, so I just planned on, I would enjoy just me and my bird and my wife or whatever, just going out and enjoying nature, being with the red-tail. And people would find out. They say, hey, can you come help us? Can you come talk to us about this? Can you come talk to us about that? And then, so fast forward to 2013, that was nonstop. 2013, we founded Rise Raptor Project as a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and we only exist by public request. That's the reason why Rise was founded. We were getting so many requests without any way to contact us on the internet. So in general, that's how I got started. That's how Rise Raptor got started here in Alabama, and it was 100% really a community requested effort. So that's why I do it.
Thanks, and here we have more questions. I'll shoot you with a few questions. Janet is asking, is the Eurasian eagle owl a threatened species? And Journey is asking, what is the purpose of those long feathers that are on top of her head? So, and then are those horn eyebrows called, what are these the horns on eyebrows called? What's the proper name for it? So here you've got a few questions.
Okay, see, the global status, I think, was the first question. Are they, was that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Are they a threatened species? That's right.
They are not threatened. They are similar, in a similar way to our great horned owl, which has never been on the endangered species list. Similar in Europe, they've really never been endangered. And part of the reason I think for that is they are so versatile. These birds are at home in the coldest of temperatures, whether it's Siberia or blazing deserts. They're extremely durable, extremely tough. They're just incredible hunters. They can eat anything they can catch. They're not prey specific. So I think that the variability in the habitats they can survive in, as well as their food sources, they are. I think that's one of the things that really makes them durable and has lasted. Now, of course, they are susceptible to all the other problems like human encroachment, environmental destruction, and all that. That definitely has an impact on them. But then again, their versatility is so good. Versus like if you take the bald eagle, for example, or the peregrine, they are more prey specific. So, for example, when toxins and whatever, some of the organochlorine poisons built up in the fish and all that, the eagles are very specific, so they're really getting a concentrated dose. So, anyway, that's why I think it's a contributing factor to their hardiness and longevity and their global status. And see, and if you could remind me of the second question.
Yes. Why? Okay, there's so many questions coming in. 1 second. What is the purpose for those long feathers that are on top of her head?
I have read a variety of things. I don't know. It's really hard for me anyway. It's really hard to figure it out. Now, some people suggest that maybe it's to break up the contour. Maybe it helps add to their camouflage a little bit. That may be the case. Others have suggested maybe they use it for communication. I mean, I can kind of see that. For example, maybe the position of the ear tufts, how he's holding them or whatever, in his body position, that may indicate if he's afraid of something or maybe he's sleepy or whatever. So, I don't know. I've never seen him do American Sign Language with those tufts. So there's probably several other theories out there. I'm not 100% sure. And I think another question was the name. You know, there's probably an official name for them. I just call them feather tufts. Now, when you're reading bird books, you'll maybe they will refer to the horned owls, the group of owls that have these feather tufts, like the great horn, or the eagle owl, the short-eared owl, or the long-eared owl, things like that. So I'm not 100% sure what they're called. I just kind of call them feather tufts.
Well, that's great. You have many good questions coming in. I'm going to give you a few more. Do you band peregrines, peregrine falcons? That's one question. And then more on the owl. Let me just see. Oh gosh, we've got so many coming in here. So answer about the peregrine, please, and I'll just go through the other questions. Thank you.
Yeah, currently I am not working with peregrines. That was something that I did in St. Louis. And yes, all the peregrine chicks that were placed into hacking boxes, that's a technique for releasing them, population restoration, they were banded. And that still happens. All different groups, they're doing magnificent work all over the place. They still band them. Sometimes they radio track them, and now with modern technology, they can put GPS trackers. You can go on the internet and see where they're at. So hopefully in the future, we'll have some projects coming up, maybe not with peregrines, but maybe some American kestrels, but we'll see. And we'll have all that. We'll announce all that as different research projects.
You got a wonderful question here. How did Maximus draw his own portrait in the back?
So I should mention that. Now, one of the reasons, of course, one of the reasons we exist, or the primary reason we exist, is for education. RISE is an acronym. Our RISE stands for Raptors, Inspiring Stewardship Through Education. So education is really at the core of what we do. And so this morning I had a really great opportunity to visit Madison City pre-K school here in the Huntsville area, and so they drew that for me as a thank you card. So and I get a lot of letters, and Maximus gets some fan mail and things like that. Really, just always remind me of the interest that these kids have and the reason why we exist and why we do what we do.
Okay, and you got really great questions. Yeah, I love this. One of them is, how much do they weigh? And how did Maximus end up in Raptor Rise? And do they mate like bald eagles for life?
So the first question was...
how much he weighs, yes. How much does he weigh typically? Yeah.
So he weighs about 5 pounds, a little under 5 pounds, about 1.9 kilos. It's interesting, in the raptor world, owls follow the general raptor rule of gender sizes. Usually the female is larger, almost always. So if you see 2 red tails, 2 bald eagles, 2 owls, whatever, sitting next to each other, they're usually a mated pair because they don't tolerate other animals around or other species like themselves around in their territory. And it's many times easy to pick out the larger one, and that will be the female. The smaller will be the male. So Maximus, believe it or not, is an extremely small eagle owl. I don't know if they make him too much smaller than him. And so if you can imagine a eagle owl about twice this big, that would be close to a female, close to 9 pounds.
And how did he end up there at Rise Raptor?
Well, at the time, before we officially founded Rise Raptor Project, about a year out, I was doing about 40 programs a year, and that was the time when I didn't have any way to contact me, and I thought, this is not going to stop anytime soon, and of course I enjoy doing it as long as people ask me out to do it. And so I had a very rare opportunity to bring him on board from one of the captive breeders here in the United States. So he flew down all the way from New York to Huntsville, Alabama in 2011. And so we raised him as a chick. He was about 5.5 weeks old, big fuzzball. And that's how he got to be with us. So it's a very rare opportunity to raise a raptor from birth, or very young like that, is very rare. And but as a result, he makes an excellent education ambassador. And
do they mate for life?
I think so, but there's so many different things. I think as far as when they're together, I think the general rule is that they probably do mate for life. But I think there are some examples of some messing around and some having some girlfriends on the side and all that. So I think as a general rule they'll stay together. Now, of course, if they lose a mate, especially during nesting or whatever process, they are pretty quick to find a new mate many times. So if they're healthy themselves, they'll it's like out with the old and in with the new almost instantly. So.
And here's an interesting question from Diana. She says, how long does it take to glove train a raptor?
It all depends on what type of raptor, what species, and also down to the individual. I mean, they're all individually different, like people. They look different, they behave different, and so, for example, many birds that are found in education programs come from rehab facilities. So that means that they were wild birds that were injured, and as a result of their injury, they can't be returned, and then sometimes they can be placed in an education program. A lot of times birds like that, just because they're injured doesn't make them suitable for being presentable in public. So, and if they are presentable, a lot of times it takes a long time to train those birds. It's all about trust. You just don't force an animal to do anything. So it's a lot of relationship building, a lot of trust, and really it's a lifelong process. So when the day he started at 5.5 weeks, we were working with him, getting him used to all the things that he would experience in life, whether it's cars, tractors, dogs especially. And that training goes on today. So we have to maintain that relationship. They're very good. If you will leave them alone, they'll be happy to mentally fly away. So it's important. So time-wise, we're always training him and always improving. And so it's kind of a difficult question to ask. There's a lot to it, and it all depends on the bird and the individual.
Yeah, and Jan is asking, how many eggs does a pair of owls normally have in a clutch?
They can have anywhere from 1 to 3. I mean, usually 2 to 3 is possibly an average. Of course, I think as well as with eagles, many times they don't start incubating at the same time, so you'll have younger ones and older ones. Usually, if you're the third egg to be laid, that's bad news because you're the insurance policy for the other two. So they have the infant mortality and the infant struggles like the bald eagles. We see many times live on webcam. Sometimes we hate to see it, but that's what happens. Very similar to the owls. So one to two babies will survive. Their mortality rate's very high naturally in the wild. So if one of them survives, they've probably been pretty successful sometimes.
And how long does it take for when they're laid to hatch? Is it like an eagle's 35 days or 36 or what is it?
Yeah, very close. I mean, around a month. I mean, kind of gather a month, take a few days. And their development is the same too. And usually the rule of thumb is the larger the bird species, kind of the longer it takes to develop. Of course, we saw that with the red tail and the eagles. The red tail developed so quickly. The larger eagles were kind of slower. And it's the same with these guys too. So, smaller animals usually will develop quicker. So.
Well, Curt, that is fantastic. You have really been a joy to have, and I'm so proud I'm really honored to have you here, and to run the first ever live Raptor on my channel. It's really fantastic for all of us here. So, all the way to Huntsville, Alabama. It's incredible what we can do nowadays. I know, and I'm very proud of that. I brought you and David Hancock together because you're both such fantastic conservation-minded people that have such a love for wildlife. So thank you so much for being on the show. I'm so pleased. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Christian, very much. Thank you to all your viewers, and what you're doing is just fabulous because all of us can, wherever we are in the world with the magic of the internet, especially what you're doing with the live feeds, is we can all come together and share knowledge and enjoy raptors and work toward the same goal together.
Yeah, and one last question here. I do see one more. Do they lay eggs early in January? I presume that would vary, right, from where you are.
Yeah, it all varies. But for example, the great horned owl, it's very common for their babies to hatch in the snow. So we see that here in North America. So they're just very tough. So if they follow the same great horned owl pattern, they'll be one of the early hatchers in their area.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Curt. Thank you so much for being on the show. And it was absolutely wonderful. So I'll see you soon, and we'll talk later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, well, that was wonderful. We had Curt on live, which was absolutely marvelous. I hope you enjoyed it. I just had a quick note here on the survey form. I think one of the admins has pasted the correct correct link in there. The link is a bit awkward, so it's better you copy and paste it. We will also put it just below the stream today. Okay, so you can see it. By the way, a quick look into my studio. As you can see here I am. You can see how it looks here. I've got the screen, and that's where I communicated with Curt whilst we were so many things going on, and then we've got the Periscope. Of course, all my friends on Periscope are on here, so it's really wonderful to do that. So that's a quick look behind the scenes. So let's go now to the next topic, and the next topic now is going to be is going to be Paul White. Let me just get myself back in here. 1 second. I was really happy to be able to interview Paul White recently. That was last Saturday. He's such a dynamic character, and everything speaks for itself. So I'm going to be quiet now, disappear, and let him talk. Well, I'm very pleased to have Paul White with me from Webster, Texas, which is, I believe, a few miles south of Houston, sort of between Houston and Galveston. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes, 25 miles north to Houston, 25 miles south to Galveston.
Oh, so you're very close to both. In fact, you have beautiful nature around you. So, Paul, I mean, you have become quite an icon, quite a star, actually. You're very well known now in the eagle fan community. I heard about you all the way to Canada, where I am. We've got lots of eagles here. So I'd love to hear more about your love or passion for eagles. Can you give us a bit of background how it all started?
Okay, as most people realize, we never had bald eagles down here in Texas until just recently. And I had never seen a bald eagle in my life. And the wife and I came back from our daily 3-mile walk, and we walked under this big pine tree, this tallest pine tree right in front of our garage, and we heard a rustling and flapping above us. We looked up, and holy cow, there they were. And one of them flapped its wings, and oh, God, that's so big. But we were very excited. We went and got our cameras, took pictures of them, and they didn't seem to be camera shy. They didn't fly away. they stayed around for about 7 or 8 days, just checking out the area, spending a lot of time in the trees. And then on Christmas Day of 2013, they started bringing sticks and putting them in this 4-way fork up there in the tree and building the nest.
That's wonderful. Paul, well, let's have a look at your screen there. What are we actually seeing?
This is a live shot, and I'm going to zoom back here for a moment and so you can see the broad view. This is the broad view of the camera, and the house is behind those trees that you see in the background. And we are in this building right here. We're right under that roof. And now I zoom in, and the babies, Tex and Yellow Rose, they are uncovered. And on the right, you see the pantry. Here's the remains of a duck. Here's the remains of a giant catfish, and there are 2 other fish there. So they're well stocked for food.
So when did they hatch?
The first one hatched, we call him Tex. Tex hatched on the 19th of January, and then 3 days later, Yellow Rose, the Yellow Rose of Texas, hatched on Monday. That would be the 22nd.
And how many hatchlings have you had so far throughout the years?
Well, prior to this clutch, there were 5. The first year they raised 1 chick, the second year 2, and the third year, by that time we had put our first camera up there, and we watched the entire nesting cycle. There were 2 chicks that year. So 5 so far, and these 2 make 7.
That is so incredible. Well, we are very used to eagles, of course, here in Vancouver, and it's rather a rarity. How many eagles are in your neighborhood or in the wider region?
Not very many. There's a nest about 5 miles to the west of us, and then about 8 miles to the west of us, there's another one. There's one over on the east side of Houston, and there's one on the north side of Houston, and then 25 miles north of Houston, there's one in the place called Woodlands.
And tell us a little bit about how you install the cameras, because I think the first one you did on your own, is that correct?
The first what?
The first camera installation you did on your own, right?
Yes, it was not a very expensive camera. We obtained a equipment rental company, volunteered and donated the use of a man lift, and so I went up and installed the camera on. Now, what I have to tell you, Dr. Christian, is that this is a twin pine tree, fortunately, and at the height of the nest, the 2 trunks are about 10 feet apart, which is perfect because this gave us the ability to mount the camera on the other tree and at exactly the right angle so that we can see. This angle you're seeing is absolutely perfect, and it's 10 feet away instead of looking straight down. So many of the nests, they mount the camera right directly above the nest, and you're looking right straight down. Well, this one, you got the right camera angle here. That first camera we used for a year, and by that time we had during that first camera year, we had gotten the attention of the owner of a security company, Texas Surveillance and Security Company. He and his family had become enthusiasts. So during the off season, when it was time to do service work, we got the city of Webster involved, and they brought their man lift down. And Mr. Brian Greeley of the Texas Surveillance and his crew brought the top-of-the-line video camera that we're using now, and they installed that one as well as the software on my computer so that we could record round the clock and then edit the clips that we put on the Facebook.
Paul, that's an amazing story. And do you also have night vision on the camera? Do you have? Is it possible for you to? You do, right?
Yes. Yes. The camera has infrared light, and of course the camera itself is built to record, and it switches on and off automatically.
Absolutely fantastic. And have there been any curious incidences like owl attacks at night or so, anything you have seen?
Not owl attacks, but our plague is raccoons. We have had raccoons during the off season. After the third year, a raccoon took residence in the he actually dug a hole down through the egg bowl of the nest and then hollowed out a room under the surface of the nest, and he was living in there. And we had to dickens of a time get him out of there and repairing that. And then after the fourth year, another raccoon took residence up in there, did the same thing. And there was one video that we took of the parent eagles were trying to get the raccoon out of the hole. They were grabbing down in there, fighting with the raccoon. And when they flew away, he exited. We got video of him exiting, and we trapped him and relocated him about 25 miles away.
That is incredible.
Okay, now,
yes?
on the right of the screen, you can see the Papa Eagle has shown up. I guess it's Papa. I don't know for sure yet. I'll have to see him walk. He's going to take over the duties.
Very nice.
Now he's getting, okay, now he just moved the remains of a duck. That's the remains of a duck that they've been feeding their babies. It looks like he's getting ready. All right, we're probably going to see some feeding here now.
We've captured the most beautiful moment. This is just perfect.
Yes, and we have a lot of clips. We have a lot of clips of them feeding. That's probably the most interesting clip that we get.
And do you often have all four in the nest?
Did what? I didn't understand that.
Did you have all four eagles, Mama, Papa, and the kids? That you have all of them in the nest?
Well, one of them is not here. One of the parents is not here right now. Probably out looking for another fish. I don't know why. They've got so much there already.
Oh, that's a good question. Where do they actually get the fish from?
Oh, we're surrounded by wetlands. We're surrounded by waterways and bios, and there is so much availability of food here that one of the parent eagles can leave here and be back in 3 minutes with a fish. That's how good a fisherman they are.
And how are you certain that these are always the same parents that return?
Well, there aren't any others around.
Good answer. Good answer.
We're not overrun with eagles like you are in Vancouver. Mr. Brian Greeley just walked in, the guy who supplies the camera, and he's the one who rescued us this morning when the lightning knocked out our did I tell you, the lightning storm last night knocked out our camera system. And Mr. Greeley from the Texas Surveillance brought his crew down, and they worked feverishly to get us back up and running. It was only about 1:30 that we got the picture back.
Oh, I saw.
He's here.
Yes, let's talk to him. Yes,
hello, sir.
Hi, Brian. Good to meet you. So you're the technical wizard at any time.
This is very exciting to be able to be a part of. Enjoy it a tremendous amount, and so does the family and everybody I know.
That's fantastic, Brian, because, I mean, security cameras are of course, because they are so ubiquitous now, we are very glad that we have them. Could you elaborate a little bit about what type of security camera actually is being used here?
Well, we donated what they call as a PTZ, pan, tilt, and zoom camera. And it's a megapixel. This particular camera is only a 2 megapixel camera. They go a lot higher than that, but he's only watching the images from about 20 feet away, so he's able to really zoom in and get the quality megapixel picture that he needs. Now, when he does move the camera, it startles the eagles a little bit, so he tries to move it the least amount as possible, and they don't hear or know that he's zooming in or zooming out.
Very good. And what optical zoom does it actually have?
30 times optical.
Oh, that's good. That's superb. So the eagles would actually notice him zooming. I know the pan tilt zoom cameras very well, so I'm just surprised they would notice it.
Well, no, they're not noticing the him zooming in and out. But if he does turn the camera left or right, or up or down, they immediately notice the movement.
And it startles them. That's why we don't do any left to right or up and down movements of the camera unless we just absolutely have to. We only do the zooming.
Very good. Okay. Well, then, thank you so much for taking part, and I'm so glad you were able to be guests here on the show. We're absolutely privileged. It's going to be featured next Friday, so maybe you could join me on YouTube on the channel. We'll give you more information, and we'll be delighted. And thank you so much. You really have become an icon, and it's so incredible to see this enthusiasm all the way down in Texas.
All right. Well, thank you, sir.
We're glad we got to meet you.
It's a pleasure. It's an absolute privilege. Thank you so much.
Okay. You have a good day.
Okay. That was Paul White. Quite incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible personality. I wish there were many more. Paul did send us some pictures too, so I'm going to give you a lot better close-ups here. And you can see they're called Tex and Yellow Rose. Just going to scroll through them and enjoy them. So these are very recent pictures, as you can see, from the 29th and 30th of January. You can see they're very well fed. I'm glad to see that in Texas, eagles actually survive. Isn't that incredible? There's a big hug. It's really wonderful. It's all very recent pictures. Okay, well, thank you to Paul. Now we're moving on to the DC nest. So DC nest is very interesting. Did you know that there are actually 3 nests in Washington, DC? And so we always get a lot of information, but I'm very pleased to say that in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have Tommy joining us from the Earth Corporation, from the ECC, Earth Conservation Corps. Sorry, it's the Earth Conservation Corps, and he's going to join us live, and we can interview him, and he's going to give us a lot of background on the DC nest. You can see this week it was all about an intruder, and yeah, intruders can be quite nasty. So these are very recent images. A beautiful nest. So my understanding is that this nest is, of course, the President and First Lady's nest. And then there is another nest from, what is it called? Oh gosh, all these names. Justice and Peace, I think they're called, if I'm correct, otherwise correct me. But they are the older couple. And it's possible, but nobody knows exactly, that the President and First Ladies are, in fact, offsprings. I mean, speculation, we can't prove that. But since there are only 3 nests, and you heard it similar to what Paul White was saying, if there are very few eagles, well, then the statistics get a lot easier. Really beautiful images here from the DC nest. The ECC, by the way, has a beautiful camera. Go and watch it. Just type in Washington, DC, ECC, and you can get this beautiful, at the moment you should actually get the beautiful night scenery from Washington, D.C. Okay, now comes the Liberty and Justice. Sorry, thank you. They're called Liberty and Justice. Gosh, get so confused. Peace and Justice. It's Liberty and Justice are the names of the eagle. Thank you. Right. So now we come to Northeast Florida. Look at that long stork leg. It's quite macabre, isn't it? Well, these 2 eagles are doing fantastically. And we'll talk right at the end. I'm going to see them very soon. In fact, next Saturday, I'll be broadcasting live, thanks to Gretchen, who's an incredible organizer. I'll be live there, Sky and Spirit, and enjoy them. It's now been, my goodness, 7 weeks, right? They must be Is that right? 7, yeah, December. No, it's yeah, that's about right. 7 to 8 weeks they're old now. So you can see them, so how massively they've grown. So they reached their peak rate of growth now. I like this one, Mom, I can't sleep. So we're going to see many, many more contributions from the Northeast Florida nest. They are obviously heading all the nests simply because they are first in the season. So we can always see what happens. Beautiful, thank you to Northeast Florida. And that brings us then to the berry nest. So Berry College Eagles. Oh, this is a very nice one. I'm just going to be quiet now. Yeah, there's some beautiful photo. You know, this ground photography is marvelous here from Bill. And I wanted to ask Bill, what fish is this that they caught there? Maybe if Bill is around or anybody knows, do put it into the chat. Of course, a lot of these contributions are from Belladonna, who's also with us, so maybe Belladonna knows. Always ask Belladonna when it comes to berry. Beautiful pictures. Isn't it? That's a beautiful one here. Very, very nice. Okay, now we're coming to Pittsburgh. This is Jersey Me contributions here. And what I like here is you can see the very industrial scenes of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Really a big contrast and nice to see how eagles are doing here. Yeah, really beautiful. So thank you to Jersey Me sending these 3 pictures. And let's jump to Hayes now. Oh, this was Dan Anaciti. Yes, Dan Anaciti, who gave some beautiful images here. So keep on sending us images. Send them to sassemedia@gmail.com. Beautiful. I love this sort of in the shade. And there's a lot of luggage there. You know, it's going to get exciting. Actually, February is going to be quite a quiet month as far as hatching is concerned. But March and April are going to explode everywhere. I should actually show you the statistics. It's very interesting too on the egg laying and hatching. So that's the last one from the Eagles of Hayes. Southwest, and I'm going to go and see them too, the Southwest. That will be the following Monday. I'll be at Southwest. I'm so looking forward to meeting some of the photographers there. And you can see here's a very nice one, because you can see that was Kathy showing us the beautiful Alula and the development of the wings now. So they're making good progress. That was just 25th, 26th, right? They were born, or somewhere around there, E10 and 11. So they are very, gosh, they're developing so quickly now. That's 5 weeks. That means, yeah, of course, the others are 7 weeks, right? I got that wrong. The northeast should be about 7, 8 weeks already. Yeah, 7 to 8 weeks on the northeast and 5 weeks here on the southwest, right? Beautiful. Okay, the trio nest. This is the most incredible nest. Okay, I'll make a dinner run. No, it's an eagle, incoming duck. You see how much humor there is. I wish there was an egg I could incubate. That's a night shot. Oh, where is our star? Ah, the fantail is amazing and long legs. Yes, it is. Oh, this is quite a scene. I mean, this is so unbelievable. I have never seen anything like this. So these are very unique pictures. Okay, yeah. Okay, then let's jump to the other nests. Okay, so this is the if I recall correctly, that's the ECC nest that we're seeing here. Trio, it's not trio. Okay, it's the trio nest. Thank you. I got it wrong. It's the trio, not the trio. Okay, right. Thank you. Trio nest. There's someone saying, hello from Christian from Manchester, England. Thank you for sharing such wonder. That is on Periscope. Well, that is wonderful that you're joining us. Thank you so much for joining. So you're looking here at a lot of different nests from all over. That's Dale Hollow. We've just seen the ECC nest. So it's quite incredible. Here again, the Earth Conservation Corps. And that's incredible because I think this is the oldest nest in DC. That is my understanding. But I'm quite sure Tommy will elaborate very soon on this when we have him live. Very nice. And you can see here, that's 2 harbors. Naturescope is also around. I can see that. It's very, very nice to see you all on Periscope, and Kit too, of course. It's fantastic. Really nice to, I'm so honored to have you all here. I just wanted to quickly say hello to everyone. So hi everyone, and thanks so much for joining this amazing channel right across North America, and it's going all the way to England. You can see that. By the way, you from Manchester, England, stay on board now because we're going to go and get quite European in the next topic. It's really interesting. No better person again to talk about this than David Hancock, whom I had with me live just 2 days ago. And we did this recording. It's all about the white-tailed sea eagle. And David, as usual, comes up with some astounding facts. So let's jump right in and let David do some talking. Okay, David, I've got David here again, David Hancock, my friend. And good. David, last time we had an exciting story about the Steller. I know it's a German, Steller sea eagle, right? And now we're jumping a bit further. So yeah. What are we doing now?
Well, we're going to talk about the white-tailed eagle, white-tailed sea eagle. Right. It's another one of this whole little series are about the sea eagles, the Haliaetus. Remember the genus word, which is Haliaetus, and Hali is equals sea, and aetus is eagle, so it's sea eagle. And this one has got the specific name, the genus, called Albacilla. Alba, white, and Scylla is tail. So, good. My goodness, some of the logic that they had in those early days for naming is absolute. Haliaetus, the sea eagle, white tail. I mean, how could you be better in describing it? So they got it really right.
And it was Linnaeus actually who first described it, right?
Well, it was, and this, it could have been Linnaeus, but certainly it was his system. Yes. Okay. It was his system. And it could have been Linnaeus because he was started the system, binomial system, but he of course started with the birds that were in Europe and most readily available in the drawers of museums. And of course, this is the European big sea eagle, but it's more than European. It not only was in the UK and most of Europe, but went up into Iceland, went all the way over to Greenland. But it goes right across Eurasia, and it shares all of the Sea of Okhotsk and the Kamchatka.
It's huge, that area.
It's a huge area. I mean, it's one of the largest eagle distributions in the world, except for the golden eagles, which go right around the world. So a big distribution, but an equally big bird. And this is kind of where people...
When you say big, how big is it?
Yeah, well, some people call it the biggest eagle in the world.
Oh, okay.
And the reason, not because remember we used that last week talking about the Stellars, and it was the heaviest eagle in the world, going up to 20, 21 pounds.
Right.
The white-tailed is not quite that big. It's an 8 to 15, 16 pound bird, 15 pound, little tiny bit bigger than a bald eagle, but Where it gets the claim, and a kind of legitimate claim, for the biggest eagle is the wingspan. And they found one bird that had 8-foot 3-inch wingspan. I mean, that's colossal.
That's tremendous.
So that's bigger than the Stellars, see? If you're talking wingspan, but is not nearly as heavy as the Stellars. So kind of a neat bird. I mean, there's a mixture. You're showing, that's your outbound screen, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
So you're showing a wonderful gathering. It was like I spent 2 hours of today with a gathering exactly like that. I had 20-something birds on a fish carcass that I put out at the Vancouver landfill. This, of course, is a mixture, mainly Stellars. Those are, I think those are, no, the one in the front, the brown one, is
who's mantling now?
Yes. No. Oh, yes, okay. Man, I'm looking at the one over to the left, actually. My eyes were focusing on the left one. And that's... oh, and there comes another one. That's a white-tailed sea eagle that just landed. Now, one of the confusions here is all the sea eagles, they take 4 or 5 years, in the case of this one, to get mature. Right. Very much like our bald eagle. But those first-year plumaged birds, before they have the distinct white tail, or our bald eagle has the distinct white head and bald tail, or the Stellars has those nice white wing flashes in the tail. The first 5-year plumages are very similar across all the species. And I have picked up at some of the museums, like American Museum, where they've got copies. They've got real ones of every species in their drawers. I've picked them up. And to be honest with you, when you go and hold them even and look them in your hand, it's hard to tell the difference of a first, second, third-year bald eagle from a white-tailed sea eagle. Yeah, they're not very different. The beak difference is there's a bit of the white-tailed sea eagle, like the Stellars, has a big beak, a bit bigger in proportion than the bald eagle. But my God, you just have one bird in your hand, and if it was a 2-year-old young sea eagle, which one it was would not know. I would be hard pressed to determine. Well, if you would be hard pressed to well, you would know. Anyway, it's a spectacular bird. It doesn't go to the extremes of coloring in the maturity, like our bald eagle with the white head and tail, or the Stellars with those lovely white scapulars on the leading edge of the wing. So the head and body is a bit more uniformly gray as opposed to dark. We always tend to think of our bald eagle as almost black. It's really a very, very dark chocolate brown. But these are just spectacular shots that people have. But again, the one that's landing or about to grab a fish in the water, I mean, that looks to me like it's the feel of a female. And so that's a bird with a 7.5, 8 foot wingspan. Huge eagle. Yeah, it's kind of impressive. The Hancock Wildlife Foundation had, for a couple of years, a live stream of a white-tailed.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah, I can't remember now which country it was. It was one of the Eastern Europe bloc countries of Europe itself. And it was a spectacular one. And this is kind of neat about this bird, like many of the eagles. They've had a quite successful recovery. Yes. Like most predators, human beings in the 1800s and halfway through the 1900s were still, because they were predators and catching something live or something meat-eating, some meat and eating it, a lot of people thought they were competitors, and that was an excuse to kill them. And of course, they're pretty defenseless. I mean, they nest, they're huge birds, they sit out in the open. So they suffered greatly everywhere. And then, of course, came along not just the persecution from shooting, because they're a sea eagle and they live on the edges of waterways. Human beings want to dominantly live on waterways, whether it's the seashore or the river or the lake. So we went and cut down all our trees, and the same thing happened in Europe. There was a great and the same with Stella. It's the same everywhere with these birds. They've all suffered the same big human challenges, and then came along pesticides, and that really wiped them out. Now partly solved some of the pesticide problems, but not by any means completely. Today, this particular bird, like the bald eagle in the eastern United States, was captive bred and released in many areas. And in some areas they were caught and moved to other young birds, like in California. They got British Columbia birds and moved them to California. They got some of the extra Florida birds and moved them into the Mississippi. They were catching birds in more remote parts of the white-tailed country and moving them to places like Scotland, England, and so on. And so now they've come back. They've got more than 100 pairs now in the United Kingdom, where they had none. Oh, that's a spectacular.
Yeah, that's spectacular. This is one of my favorite. Of course, they put a camera there.
They mounted a camera on the back of this bird.
Oh, yes, it's incredible.
We want to do that, actually. I mean, that's what I was mentioning earlier. I spent the day, I've been baiting in eagles, and on Sunday, and as you know, you're invited. We're hoping to trap some eagles on Sunday and put GPS trackers on them, just like they have done in parts of Europe with the white-tailed and with a few with the stellars, to find out where do these great birds move. And as we are beginning to learn, they can cover huge distances. Yeah, you have a friend. I mean, Curt
is going to be live on Friday.
Oh, is he?
Well, yeah, I'm going to have him live, and he's going to talk to us with his Eurasian owl and so on. It's marvelous.
With his Eurasian owl, but I mean, he's also behind a movement to help set up a captive breeding thing for the white-tailed and the stellars. And I wrote him a letter tonight. I don't know if you saw it. Because I've said that our foundation would like to work with him on that. I mean, I have bred eagles before, a long time ago. And we don't need to captive breed bald eagles for the sake of releasing them anymore. I mean, in a few areas it would still help, I guess. But in the case of the stellars and the whitetail, there are big areas where the persecution has still been the dominant form, and they haven't come back yet. So a captive breeding project on whitetails and stellars would help the recovery of these species. So it's kind of neat.
This is showing, by the way, that this is going at the moment at 180 kilometers per hour diving.
Yeah,
that's
wow.
Incredible. They were measuring the speed on the side. And there it is.
There it is landed.
That's incredible. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when they dive, on the flattened level, they're going to be very similar to our birds. They're going to fly at 35 to 45 miles an hour. If they really get in a pursuit flight, then they can probably go up to 55 or 60. But in ordinary flying, they're going 35, 40 miles an hour, and that's fine. They get soaring way up high. Then they can get into some of the high winds, and they can be moving along at 100 miles an hour with just soaring. And that's how most of these big birds cover the huge migration distances. They get up and soar, and the wind is carrying them. And so they do very well. Oh, these are marvelous.
I know.
shots.
I just had to show this again.
Yeah.
It's such an incredible.
Yeah. And the one in the very center, in the front there, it's gone now. But that one was a white-tailed sea eagle. Most of these are there's a couple more in the center that are white-tails with the dark heads. And then the others are the big,
incredible.
You know, one of the neat things, and I said about this difficulty, we've been talking each week about a fish eagle. So one of the things that's really surprising is not their differences, but their similarities. And ecologically, they're really similar. Ecologically, meaning how they make a living and how they interact with the environment to find food, find nests. And all of these big sea eagles, they've invaded all the continents except South America, Antarctica, and actually they aren't even in South America. So they're all across the north.
Is there a reason for that? Always have to ask that.
No, you know, it's kind of interesting. I've wondered the same. It's a good question. Why they didn't occupy the Amazon, which is the world's greatest fish area. I mean, there's more species of fish in the Amazon River than there are, I think, in the Atlantic Ocean, for example. I mean, the Indonesian tropics and the Amazon are the oldest forests of the world. So why haven't sea eagles invaded them?
Yes.
It's surprising they haven't. Maybe because they evolved that great harpy eagle. They're the one with a wrist almost as thick as mine, and the monkey killer. Maybe it's such a big, powerful eagle. It's so dominated the country, the lakesides, the rivers, and so on, that a fish eagle just wasn't powerful enough to hold its own. But what I wanted to point out was this ecological similarity.
Right.
It's very similar. They are riparian, meaning they love the waterways. And it doesn't matter whether it's the oceans, the salt water, whether it's a lake, a river, swamps. These eagles are all basically fish feeders, and they've got those talons with scales on them. And every one of these 7 big sea eagles has the same basic way of surviving. They're fish feeders when they're near their nest. At other times of the year, and when they're subadults, they're predominantly scavengers.
Right.
So fish feeding when they're near a nest, so they can lift a small fish up to the nest and find food, within a half a mile of their nest site. And other times of the year, they adapted to this incredible ability of having these huge, huge wings where they can soar and then drift with the wind. And that's enabled these birds, the European as well as ours, to do these huge migrations.
Well,
and
does one know anything about the population, how many there are approximately? Is there any figure on that?
No, I say that. I don't really know. I read something not long ago where they said that the UK, United Kingdom, the British Isles, basically had just over 100 breeding pairs.
Oh my goodness.
So, I mean, this is a pretty small island. It's not big, but it's not greatly different than Vancouver Island, where on Vancouver Island we probably have 8 or 10,000 pairs. So we have a lot, and they will get them back.
Right.
This whole thing about people accepting these big predators, we're getting more and more tolerant of them. So I think it's a steady growth pattern there, as it was here in Vancouver.
Right.
So just a spectacular bird, but ecologically, all of the different sea eagles of the world, the stellars in Kamchatka, all across northern Europe and Asia, this white-bellied white-tailed sea eagle. The one in Australia, the white-bellied, they ecologically are almost identical, and based on the fact that they have these big scaly feet and sharp claws for catching fish. They are fish-oriented, and that's such a key ecological distinction.
Okay. I think we've got 15 minutes now.
Well,
one other thing you want to go to.
One other thing I wanted to mention.
Go ahead.
When I was looking up what was the incubation of these birds, that's kind of fascinating, because the literature speaks the same way as it did in North America about our ball. It's quite a variety. They talk about it being 37-8 days to 45, 46 days. That's a huge range, and it's probably not true. It's probably not true. These birds are, the difficulty is the same difficulty we had, and you kind of reconfirmed this.
Don't say it yet. That's going to be part of our quiz,
Oh, is it?
Don't give it away.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. So the interesting thing then is that the white-tailed sea eagle has this reported range of 37, 38 to 45, 46 days. But in reality, once they put cameras in them, once they have this ability to be precise, you watch the darn egg come out of the oviduct and you say, now it's laid. But the bird isn't necessarily sitting on it.
Right.
The day that it starts to sit and bring that temperature up so that the cell division begins, the incubation that's the day that incubation starts. and we've pinned that down, but I'm not to say this for the bald eagle,
Yes.
quite precise.
Yes, we did, yes.
And in most of our pairs, it's very precise. It's often within hours every year, not only the date they lay the eggs, but the number of hours that they get incubated. And so I'm not going to say how many, but I think when we get more white-tailed sea eagles under cameras, we'll pin down more precisely how long between laying and incubating and how long the bird is actually incubated. My guess, it's probably going to, it's a bit bigger, so I think it'll probably be.
That reminds me of an interesting question. Someone said, why don't we have a stellar sea eagle camera somewhere?
I'd love to. I'd love to. I mean, God.
I remember that question. I thought,
yes, well, where are you? Somebody with a We'll provide the camera and put the signal out through Hancock Wildlife for you. So we just have to find somebody who knows where a stellar sea eagle nest is and can install the camera. The old tricks, though, having power and some kind of way of communicating the signal to the web. That's the other trick on this. So there we are.
Well, thank you very much, David. I think that was really informative and very enjoyable. So we've nearly covered all of them. There's
several.
Oh yes.
Yes, there's several more in the center part of Asia.
Okay.
So we can go into those next time.
Okay, that was David Hancock. Now we're going to move on. I just saw a very interesting comment. I just wanted to comment on Diana. Thank you for saying, could we have a question and answer with David Hancock? I can already tell you that's going to happen. Okay, that will definitely happen. He'll be delighted, absolutely delighted. I think that is something we can probably even organize maybe after the Northeast Florida visit. Okay, so thank you for that suggestion. By the way, I wanted to thank you all, really, on both YouTube and Periscope, because I'm watching Periscope in parallel here, for all your questions, especially your questions to Curt Kearley. Really fantastic how you all contribute to this. It really makes my heart jump. Really wonderful to see, that the community is growing so quickly. On that note, now the question: what was David Hancock talking about, giving away secrets here? Because I'd asked him a question and I startled him quite a lot. Now is your time for a survey. And this is really interesting. In the background, I have this incredible website from Judy B, which I've been studying extensively. If you want to see probably the best documented eagle website that I personally know of, go to judybeagles.com. You will find, since 2008, or is it 2007, for every single year, you will find a huge, and I mean a tremendous Excel sheet of all the hatching, how many eggs made it, what happened to the eaglets, how old they are right to the day now, from 2008, and so on. Incredible piece of work. It's also a jungle to do data mining, and that's exactly what I spent my whole Monday on. The whole day I spent data mining Judy's incredible sheets. My first question was one of the most interesting questions that I always found, and here comes the poll. Okay, here comes the interesting poll question, so get ready. Those of you who managed to answer both correctly are going to get a very nice prize. Again, one of my beautiful eagle images will have the wheel spin. But get ready for this poll. Now, it's very important that you please enter your name and also address in there. Okay, so that's important. We're going to give the link for the poll in a moment. So it's going to be two questions. Now, let me explain. Let me just listen for a moment. Let me explain. So the question that I asked is, let's put you somewhere in North America in front of a nest. And I'm giving you a guess now. And I say, what are the odds? It's the same as sitting there in a horse race. What are the odds of an eagle laying an egg and the hatch being exactly after 35 days? That's my question. I want to know from you the answer in percentage. There are going to be a few options there. Take a good guess. That's question number one. Does it make sense? So You go in and you're throwing dice. What's the probability in percent that in North America, and I've looked at 450 nests, 450 hatches, not 450 nests, 450 hatches. So huge statistics, huge database, very consistent what Judy B has done there. And I have thrown out all data that's not reliable, and there still remains 450 hatches. I've looked at all of them. How long do you think it takes for an eagle to hatch, right? That's the question. What's the probability of it being 35 days? Because you remember, all the nests are always counting on 35 days. Is that true or is it not true? And this is reliable data. This is your data. This is citizens' data. This is not nonsense. This has been years and years of very consistent observations of all the cameras. So that's question number one. And question number two I have for you. Also interesting, I will go through that. What is the average that you would think across North America? Is it 35 days, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and so on? Take your good guess. If you get both correct, you're going to win a great prize. I think this is a great question, really, because that's what it's all about. It's our statistics that we have from all the nests. It started with many already in North America, then it went to David Hancock, who built this up, and it went back to California, where Institute of Wildlife Study, they had a huge statistics. I went through this jungle of statistics thanks to Judy B. And so let's have the idea. So I'm going to put so that's Judy B's website, really great website. So let me just see. So the poll, this is it. So could I please ask my admins to they've put it already there. They put the poll link already. So unfortunately I cannot do this for our friends on Periscope because I cannot post links. But I'd love you to please go through survey question 1 and survey question 2. So there are 2 surveys to answer, right? Please answer both of them. And this is really not easy. It's not an easy one I'm asking, but it is absolutely relevant to everything that we are doing about the conservation of eagles and our understanding of wildlife. So have a good idea, have a good guess at it. There's Journey, is it right? Journey has said, okay, I did the survey, that's great. Thanks for your kind words, says watching eagles grow. That is Judy B. Judy B, you are fantastic. Judy B is watching eagles grow. And she's also curious to see the answer. And this is based on really good observation. I know Judy B personally, and that's why I trust her data, because this has been years and years of incredible work. So let's see what the answer is. And we're going to do some more data mining on Judy B's. I also took your data, Gretchen, by the way. And I know Gretchen and Judy B, you know each other. I took Northeast Florida is also an interesting one. We'll get to that. There won't be a poll on that, but I'll also give you some stats on that. So I'm going to wait a little bit more. So keep on going, filling out the survey. There you got Judy B's website put in there. This is really interesting. So let's just wait a little bit more. I'm going to wait for a signal from my admins here. These are only a number of questions. I will not have the winner's name. Okay, yes. We might not have the winner's name. You're right. Okay, but do give me a signal, my admins. Do give me a signal when you think that we should stop the survey and jump to the answers. I really think, it's going to be curious. We're going to compare 2 pie charts. We're going to compare the sum of what everyone believes it is to the facts, right? That's the whole idea here. So I'm going to wait a little bit more. It's fun, isn't it? It's fun. Yeah, not an easy one. Judy B, I just have to tell you, I really love the way you spend so much time on this, and there's so much data mining to be possible still to be made. We can also see how many haven't made it. We can look at the California, the Channel Islands in detail, because you've got tons of information on that, right? Thanks to the Institute of Wildlife Studies. Of course, from Hancock, we have a lot of data that goes way back. That's how you started, I think, and so on. So really, really interesting. So is there anybody still who wants to do the survey? I'm just seeing the questions. And just going to wait a moment. And let's see if there are any more. So let's hope we can get pull up the answers of the survey. I hope this is all going to work. Yep, done with mine. Okay, so everybody seems to have done. Let me just put it in the chat too. I'm going to just ask quickly. Done. Let's just see it. Osprey Mama, can you can you show us more of the eagle pics? Yes, yes. Okay, I can do that. Yes, we'll do that. Of course. We'll definitely do that. Okay, clapping for Judy B. Absolutely. So if there is no more, now surveys are, whether we can do this live correct, I have no idea what the result's going to be, but I'm going to jump now to the screen and hopefully it'll load properly. So here we go. No more survey. It's cut off now. Just waiting. I hope this is going to work. Okay, so here, I'm glad it worked. So let's see, at the moment, we see survey selected 73%, total count 11. Okay, what I cannot see at the moment, yes I can, hang on. So, here we go. So, I understand it now. I just had to interpret it quickly. So 73%, 11 of you thought that 73% is correct. 10 of you thought that 48%, that means the probability of 35 days being correct is 48%. 10 of you thought 34%, so a bit more pessimistic about it. Only 3 of you believed that it would be 18%, and that's it. And percentage selected, I don't quite understand the last one. Maybe there was one person who selected 6%. I'm not sure whether that's a glitch in it, but anyway, we have a stat, so it's very clear the majority believes still that 35 days is the correct count. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. This is what the survey tells us. So a lot say it's somewhere between 34, 48, and 73%. That's null data, thank you. Someone just say ignore it. So nobody seems to have voted for 6%. Isn't that curious, right? Well, let's keep that in mind. Keep the results in your head, and I'm going to jump to hatch question number 2 now, which actually is related to question number 1. So let's wait a bit. Let's hope it works. And here are our stats. I'm just going to make myself a bit smaller because I'm absolutely in the way here. 1 second. Okay, so here we go. What we're saying is the count for 35 is lower now. For 35, we still believe 9. For 36, that's the highest. That's good. 36 say 20, and 37 say 10. And 38 say only 2, 39 says 1, and 34 says 1. Well, thank you for participating. This is really interesting statistics, right? So just coming back again to hatch to the screen number 1. I'm just pulling it up again. 1 sec. There we go. So it was 13, 10, 10. So it's most people still believe that 35 is a very, very reliable way of predicting. So I can put you in front of any nest in the United States or in Canada, and you're going to say, my bet's on 35. It's going to work, right? So most think that's my bet, that's the highest, right? And quite a lot. And it goes all the way to 34, but the low count on 6%, there's nothing. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready for this moment? I'm just going to, once more, I'm going to make this so dramatic because it's these statistics are dramatic. They're very dramatic. Okay. So here we go. That's again, most are, the majority is still lying for 36 and 37. And definitely the peak is on 36. So we remember that, right? So here we go. Judy's results are, hold your horses. The days to hatch And this is taken over 450. Oh no, sorry, this is not Julie. Sorry, this is first let's do first the Northeast Florida nest. This Northeast Florida, that is Gretchen's. 35, 15% probability. Only 15%. 36 is 46 probability. So there you would have been right. And 37 is 38%. That is Gretchen's. But now we come to the gigantic statistic, the most relevant statistic that we know. And you're going to fall over now. I'm going to put an arrow in now so that you understand what I'm pointing at, okay? So let me just push this in. So the result is absolutely mind-boggling. The probability of hatch for 35 is 6.22%. And if you don't believe me, jump in, be my friend, do it yourself. Then comes so you would have all lost your bet. You would have all lost your bet. Can you believe it? Only a 6% probability of hatching being 35 days. That's how low. Out of 450 hatches that I looked at, only 28. 28 divided by 40, 455 gives you a probability of 6.22%. Then the next one. 36, much higher, 31%. You can see it's peaking between 36 and 37. For there, most of you are correct, in fact. But the peak is actually at 37.2. The average over all the nests is 37.2. That is the average, right? So if you had to bet the average, it is closest to 37. Not true for the Northeast Florida nest, a little bit different, but definitely similar statistics, right? So that's absolutely. I wanted to thank Kevin here for doing this marvelous job here of the statistics, because this is that we can do this polling online takes again a lot of knowledge. Kevin has been doing such masterwork in the background for putting all this together. So thanks to Kevin, the IT specialist who has put his voluntary work, put days into this for getting the data in correct, right? So if you don't find it surprising, I'm stunned. David Hancock found it surprising, but it's so it certainly is a stunner. Kevin says, I'm doing what I can do. Well, he does really great work. All of you, all the helpers here do incredibly great work, really fantastic. Okay, so let's jump to the pie chart now. I'm just going to get the arrow out. So this is the pie chart that gives the results. I always like to see it in the pie chart. So let's put the arrow in again, and you can see this is out of the total amounts. There is your little 35 days, 6% of the pie is only that, right? That's from 450 hatches again, just that you understand. And the big chunk is right here. And let me just pull the arrow there. The big chunk is right here, 37.2, 36. It's that takes up the majority of the pie of all the, all the stats that we have. Isn't that interesting? So you can see how much we're learning. So I only have one request. Please stop that 35-day count. I mean, rely on data. Don't rely on things you heard. That is so important, really. It is, it is so important. We have to start using what we know, not what we feel. David Hancock said to me when I told him that on 35 days, well, that used to be the count, but nowhere could anybody have the accuracy that we have now, where you can watch the hatch and everything. By the way, we're not talking about the PIP. We're talking about the PIP. We're talking about the hatch here, because a PIP does not mean a hatch, because many don't make it. So don't confuse the two. But the clocks we should reset to either, if the average is actually 37.2, but we definitely need to revise the way we look at things. So forget the 35 count. This is amazing data compiled again by Judy B. Thank you so much. And thank you, Kevin, again, for making this beautiful statistics live possible. Absolutely wonderful. So if you didn't find that interesting, I don't know what. So we'll do a lot more of that. We'll look at the perching and all the rest. We're going to look at a lot more. Yeah, I see a paper coming up in an Eagle journal. Yes, you know, that is very possible. I mean, this is statistics that anybody has accessible. This is Judy B's work, and if you don't agree with me, you know, spend a day doing this, right? And you'll be surprised. I think it's very consistent. By the way, let's just jump quickly back to, you know, to the Northeast Florida nest, because I just wanted to comment on Gretchen's wonderful work. She's got probably, from all the nests, the most detailed stats that I can see on any one single eagle pair, right? On any one single eagle pair. And even there, statistics don't lie. I mean, we have out of 13 hatches, you have only 2 out of 13 of all the hatches in 35 days. Again, very consistent with what we see from Judy B, right? So all the data are definitely, and I went through all the years, the statistics over the years, very, very little. That is another thing that surprised me. Sometimes the average was 36.9, sometimes it was 37.2, sometimes 37.5, but it's consistent. It's really consistent. So that points to me only out one thing, you know, reset the clocks for hatching, okay? Very nice. Okay, well, how about, I'm going to wait a bit. How about, would you like to do another quiz? So, did anybody win? You know, we don't know. What we'll have to do, and I apologize, we don't have the possibility at the moment. Did anybody win? I think nobody won, because if I see it correctly, I'm going to put this beautiful pie chart behind me. I think there was nobody who was able to guess the 6%. So we don't. Let's do something additional. Let's have some fun with some eagle questions, right? So what do you think? You know what? I didn't prepare this so well because I thought somebody should win, right? But let's have some quiz questions. So I better find them quickly. And if you let me first find. Do you still have time for eagle questions, or is it getting too late? Do you want another quiz? So I'm just going to wait quickly. I just see Judy B says first egg is almost always longer than second egg. Yes, it's also true. Judy B, I think it's about half a day difference. It's not that drastic difference, but it definitely is due to the delay. But you know what? It's another good point. Yes, you have time. Okay, that's great. But it's another great point that you are another quiz. Okay, Naturescaper here on Periscope says another quiz. You know what? I have to just give me a minute. I'm going to let you look at a few eagle images. I have to draw up the quiz questions quickly. So I'm going to, let's see if I can just have these circulate for a second. 1 second. I'm just going to let you have a look at the images whilst I am going to, let's see if I can let them circulate quickly for you. Yeah, I think I can do this. And I will take up the quiz question, which I have forgotten. I'm going to get myself out of the way and keep a low profile and look for them. And in the meantime, I'm going to have you enjoy this. 1 second. So give me a second. I'm going to switch off my microphone. Okay, well, I can tell you once again, I have such incredible help here. I'm really grateful to my team here because they quickly gave me the link. You see what is possible? It's only possible with a team like this. So this was great. So whilst you see the images in the background, I have some questions. So I'm going to put up the phone number. Let's just do it. That's the dial-in number. I'm going to get out of the way. And I'm going to put in my microphone. Okay, here we go. So I've got the questions now. So I'm all ready now. So here is the dial-in number. So the question now is, and this should hopefully be easy. The rules are as follows. The first person who dials in gets to answer the question. If you don't get the answer correct, I will pass on the question to the next person. If you do get it correct, there are going to be 3 people allowed in the queue. So this is another thing that Kevin has done, which is really marvelous, is that I can queue, or we can queue people now in line. So what you need to do is don't dial yet. You don't know the question yet, okay? But I'm going to give you the question now. And the question is, eagles are excellent flyers. About how many feathers does a single bald eagle have? The answer A, 7,000, B, 70,000, C, 750, or D, 8,096. What a number, 8,096. So here is your question. So great. So I'm going to switch the channel now over. Okay, one second. Okay, I made a mistake with the viewers. Okay, once again, I had Lullaboo on the line. They only heard eagles. Okay, I put the wrong audio on, so they heard eagles only, which is not a bad thing. But I have Lullaboo on the line, and she just answered 7,000. So Lullaboo, you're absolutely correct. That is the correct answer. So congratulations. So we'll draw this quiz for you later, and hopefully it'll be a picture that you like. Okay. So thank you so much.
I couldn't imagine that it would not be one that I would love. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks. Fine. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Okay. I think where am I? Okay. Oops. What happened there? Hang on. Hello?
I couldn't imagine that it would not be one that I
Hello?
would love. Thank you so much.
Hello? With whom am I?
Hello?
Hello, with whom am I speaking, please?
This is Deb.
With Deb. Hi, Deb. Just turn the volume a little bit down of the live channel so we don't get feedback, but but you're live now.
Okay.
Okay, very good. So the first person, answered the question correctly. So let's see now. I'm going to give you another question. This is let me find a nice one for you. 1 second. One that is. Oh gosh, that is. I don't want to get a too difficult one here. Okay, here's an interesting one. True or false? Bald eagles are just smaller versions of the adults. Is that true or false? Baby eagles. No, not baby. It's baby eagles are just smaller versions of the adults. Is that true or false? Are they smaller than the adults, or are the... That's a bit of a...
Yes, that's true.
That's true. Okay, no, you got it. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. That is absolutely correct. That was a really simple one, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah,
it was even simpler than 7200.
Well, you knew them anyway. That's great. Okay, well, Deb, send us the to sassemedia@gmail.com. Please send us send us the answer. But I'm not sure I actually understood the question, because the question baby eagles is a little bit misleading, because they can. We should have said juveniles. If it had been juveniles, what would you have said? Is a juvenile eagle the same size or bigger actually than an adult? What would you say? Hello?
A juvenile?
Yes.
Yes, a juvenile, I would say the same.
Yes, the same. That's absolutely true, and they can even get bigger. So I think the question is a little bit confusing. So I think you answered it correctly. You know your stuff. I have no doubts. So thank you for participating. I'll take the next person then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. With whom am I speaking, please?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. So no more calls now, please. I think there are more waiting in. So no more calls then. So yes, I can hear. With whom am I talking, please?
This is Nellie.
Nellie, hello. Where are you talking from, Nellie?
I'm talking from Jacksonville, Florida. You may also know me as Mac Lady.
Oh, Mac Lady, very nice. Okay, very good. So, thank you for participating. I'm going to find a nice question for you. Okay, let's
Hope I can answer.
Of course, I'm sure you can. This is an interesting one. The sexes, the bald eagle sexes are identical in plumage, but females are about 25% larger than males, 30% larger than males, the same size as males, or 15% larger than males. That's not an easy one. Do you have any idea what that could be?
I think it's 30%.
Yeah, it's actually, the answer is 25%. Now, that's not an easy question, but since you're the third one in the queue, it's supposed to get more difficult. Okay. Well, it's okay. It's okay, but you were very close. You were really close. So thank you so much for participating. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Fine. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, that's great. So I think that was everyone. Well, thanks for dialing in. So I'm just going to, let's see. I'm just going to get, let's see, the number out of the way again. Okay, well, thank you, Kevin. That worked again really marvelously. We did it. So your technology really works. It's not easy to handle all these, but I'm glad we did. So we have 3 winners. Let's just see. Oh, the live camera is not working at the moment. I wonder what's going on. Hang on. Something's going on with that. No, it's not. Okay, never mind. I'm just going to switch my... Let me just get my camera back. For some reason, the camera live feed is not working. But you know what? We improvise here. It's okay. Not sure why, but you can still hear me, right? So I'm going to improvise and get my other camera in. which hopefully works, Okay, so I'm going to do my emergency camera. I'm going to look this way. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so this is really odd because it's not working properly now, but I hope you can see me still. The main camera has said, I've had enough of you, Christian, you talk too much. So I'm looking here at the back camera, you can still see me. That's my emergency camera. So we have 2 out of 3 winners now. 2 out of 3 winners, well done. And I'm going to spin the wheel twice, and I'm just going to, I can't really say stop to anyone. I'm going to close my eyes and arbitrarily, you can watch the screen actually from this side. So let me just do that. So it seems to me like the main camera has given up. Yes, it has given up. That's nice of you. Okay, fine. Yeah, but you can hear me at least. Okay, fine. So I'm going to go back to my main screen. And here we go. Let me share that screen. Yeah, we see your head. Yes, you do see my head. But I can't. I'm not a bald eagle that can look at the camera and type like this or feed like that. I can't do that yet, but I'm getting there. Okay. 180 degrees turn is not quite what I'm up to yet, but I'll do it. Okay, so here we go. That's it. That's what you're supposed to see. This is the screen. Okay, so we have 2 winners now. Apologies for the technology, but my technical assistant is on holiday, by the way. He's already on his way to Florida. That's someone got a haircut. Yes, I did. Okay, here we spin. So this is for our first winner. I'm going to look away now, and I'm going to arbitrarily just stop it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Oh, you win a 3-dimensional Talon picture. That is our first winner. That is the 3-dimensional Talon. That is a stacked image of an eagle Talon. Well, quite remarkable. It's a 3 months juvenile that I took there. So it is stacked. That means to get the depth of field, you can make a huge poster from that. So that is our first winner. Congratulations. Now we spin the wheel again. Okay, so here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Okay, now this is a beautiful image. This image is very nice. Thank you to Jenny. Jenny has made this beautiful wheel, and it's really remarkable. So the image appears very nicely. So this is an eagle pair that I took almost in front of me, flying completely synchronous. Really a very rare picture. It's the only one I've ever seen like this. There's a phone which I'll switch off now. Okay, sorry about that. So that is the picture that the second caller gets. So congratulations, both of them are beautiful. Yes, Lullaboo, you won a beautiful picture. So you got the first one and the second one then. So you all got very nice pictures. So thank you to my team for making this possible. So I'm just going to turn around finally, and let's see where we are now. I wanted to say the following. So Saturday night, yes, it's not going to be Saturday Night Live. It's much better than Saturday Night Live. Saturday, the 10th of February 2018 is going to be fabulous. Next week, mid-next week, I am on my way to Florida with my wife. Really fantastic. And so the reason for going to Florida is, of course, to visit both the Northeast Florida and the Southwest, but there is going to be a live broadcast near the nest. It's not going to be in the nest. It's not going to be just underneath the nest. It's going to be near the nest, so we keep a good distance. Thank you to Gretchen for making this possible, for inviting so many. Really marvelous. And I'll see many of my friends too. I'm going to see Osprey Mama for sure. That's going to be fantastic. So I look so much forward to seeing you all. And many mods I'm going to get to know finally who they are. You only virtually know me, and vice versa. So this is going to be quite a thing because I'm going to take my laptop along. Everything's going to be all about the Northeast Florida nest. I'm going to be interviewing a lot of people. We're going to talk only about Sky and Spirit there and all the years that you're going to meet Gretchen, you're going to meet everybody. So it's really fantastic. There's going to be no show on Friday because it's not possible for me to do so much. On Friday I'm going to be traveling because it's quite a distance from Orlando, traveling all the way up to the nest and so on. And I also want to meet quite a few. So there's a big program coming up. Plus, you know, I have to be nice to my wife too. I can't talk eagles all the time. She loves eagles, but you know, there's a limit to everything. So yes, it'll be Saturday morning instead. So the next live broadcast is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Tough luck for you guys on a 7 a.m. Pacific time on the West Coast. For Central time, it's not a problem, but not going to be so easy. Someone says, I'm confused as to who won the contest. I answered one of the questions. Babs, if you answered one of the questions, the first and the second callers are the winners, right? If you were the second caller, then you won, okay? Then you won. If I confused you on top of it, then I apologize. Then write to us, okay? I will fix it. I'm not perfect, as you can see, but it sometimes is a lot of things to take care of. Your Osprey Mama says, yeah, okay. It's definitely a yeah. So, yeah, we'll see you in Florida. So that's going to be really, really fantastic. I just wanted to, as a final image, just jump back to... Yes, jump back to here. So I wanted to show you where you can actually get the link to the next Eagle broadcast. So if you jump on the main SassePhoto page here, and if you go to playlist, by the way, do give us thumbs up if possible. Give us a nice thumbs up for if you like the broadcast. I know it's not always perfect, but my goodness, we put a lot of work into it, really a lot, including David Hancock too, and so on. If you go there, you will see the playlist, and if you go to playlist and you type on play all, you will see here's our next show. It says here, so that's the link already for the next show. It's easy to get, so it says Talons 360, so that is live from the Florida nest. Hopefully everything goes well. If not, I will definitely improvise and I'll find a way. So, it says, I'm just getting a message here from my admins. They say, Lullaboo wins. Deb won too. Neil said, McLady, no win. Yes, that's right. So that was, the first win was the Eagle Talon. That's right, that's from Lullaboo. Congratulations. And the second one was the Eagle pair that Deb won. Okay, so those are the two winners. Thank you so much. Okay, so I will, since my main camera doesn't work, but thank goodness, I always have a way to improvise, which is really fantastic. So let's just see if I can, if I can improvise now. Yeah, that's much better. This is much better. Now you get a much better view. Okay, that's my final, yeah, that's my final improvisation. Thank you so much for being with us all the 2 hours. I so appreciate all your dedication. It's really fantastic. I wanted to say again, thank you to my Raptor team. Thank you to Kevin. Thank you to David Hancock. I'll get him live. Thank you to Curt Kearley. Thank you to Paul White. And thank you for everybody who sent in those pictures. Janet, Lullaboo, Kathy, Gretchen, and so on, and so on, and so on. You all give such wonderful contributions that make this an incredible channel. It is incredible. So don't forget about the 37.2 days. It's not 35, and it's only 6% probability. I think that's the big surprise to all of us, including myself. So I'll have to turn now. I can't keep my head like an eagle, right? I have to turn away and switch off the stream. So thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, and see you in Florida. See you. Finally, we had 1 month of rain. It's disgusting. Rain every day. Can hardly take the dogs out. So, but now we're coming to sunny Florida. Gretchen promised me sunshine. Can you believe it? She's promised me. And she promised she'll keep the alligator away from my legs. I'm happy to hear that. So on that note, I will, yeah, I'm going to I'm going to say stop streaming now, which should work in a second. My computer is starting to rebel, but it's still working. So on that note, have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.